say to her, Yesh lach babayit? You have anything at home?
Hello and welcome everyone to our third and final episode in the series of Desert Island Torah, and I'm absolutely thrilled to introduce today's guest, Rabbi Dr Jj Shakhtar, who is joining us all the way from his home in New Jersey. Rabbi Schacter is University Professor of Jewish History and Jewish Thought and Senior Scholar at the Center for the Jewish Future at Yeshiva University. He previously served as a very popular and successful pulpit rabbi in Boston and New York. He was the dean of the Rabbi Soloveitchik Institute in Boston and is the founding editor of the Torah Umaddah Journal, a prestigious academic publication which has gained international acclaim. Rabbi Schacter also holds a number of prominent Jewish communal positions. He served as founding president of the Council of Orthodox Jewish Organizations of the Upper West Side in New York. He is a member of the Board of Governors of the Orthodox Union, and he is on the editorial boards of various widely distributed publications. Furthermore, Rabbi Schacter is one of my personal mentors. I and indeed many of my colleagues look to him for guidance and inspiration on a regular basis, and I'm just so excited that he has joined me today. Rabbi Schacter, welcome to Desert Island Torah.
Rabbi Taylor, what a pleasure and what a privilege it is for me to join you. And I was waiting for the last part of the introduction, which speaks to the personal relationship that we have. You are one of the most extraordinary, I wouldn't even say students, I would say a Talmud Chaver of mine. And I've been following your career with great interest and with great enthusiasm. I wish you incredible success in the position that you hold. I know that you are and will continue to be a very, very successful rabbi, inspiring your congregants and all of those who have the pleasure and the privilege to be influenced by you.
Rabbi Schacter, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
That means the world. It really, really does. Thank you.
And I also want to take a moment, and I want to thank Avi in the background for all of the work that she does to enable all of the work that you do, or so much of the work that you do on behalf of your congregation, to happen in such a professional way.
Absolutely. We need Avi. She makes it all happen. So, Rabbi Schacter, what's the first piece of Torah which you would take to a desert island?
So I've been giving this a lot of thought ever since, Rabbi Taylor, you invited me, because obviously, it's like, who's your favorite child? It's really difficult to choose one piece of Torah over another. But I decided that I want to begin with a text from the Bible, from the Chumash, that is probably unexpected. And that is the verse that I would like to choose is from the 28th chapter in the book of Numbers. It's about the sacrifice that was brought every single day. And I'll read the verse in Hebrew and I will translate it. Et hakeves ha'echad ta'aseh baboker, ve'et hakeves ha'sheni ta'aseh ben ha'arbayim. The one animal you bring in the morning and one animal you bring in the evening. Now, I would venture to say that probably no one listening to this this interview, would have imagined that anybody would choose this verse. I mean, what's so exciting about this verse? And the reason why I chose it is because in the 16th century, somebody wrote a collection of the various homiletical parts of the Talmudic text, the Agadah. It's called Ein Yaakov. His name was Rabbi Yaakov ben Shlomo ibn Chabiv. And in his introduction, he talks about what are the three most important verses in the entire Torah. Three most important. So if he were on this webcast, he would have to say, I've got three. Two of them are obvious. Shema Yisrael, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. The next one is V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. That was another suggestion. And this is the third suggestion. This animal is in the morning, and this animal is in the evening. And for a long time, I couldn't understand it. I understand, Hear, O Israel, Shema Yisrael, that's a very important text. Love your neighbor as yourself, very important text. this animal in the morning, this animal in the afternoon. And I realized that the reason why I think it is so central, why he thought it was one of three, and why I want to begin with it, is because this speaks to the ongoing, constant, daily discipline of Jewish commitment. Jewish commitment is not when I want, when I'm interested. Today I'm too tired. Tomorrow I'm on vacation. Every single day, the carbon tamid, daily, constant, in the morning, in the evening. And to me, this speaks to what a commitment to Jewish life is. It's not fair weather friend. It's not, okay, I'll take a break. I did it yesterday. It's all right. It's fine. I'm in, but I went to synagogue last Shabbat. Said a little, I need a. No. To me, I want to begin with the text that says, all in. We're all in. If you make a commitment to something, you're all in. And that to me is what's identified and reflected in this text.
I suppose the message of consistency.
The message of consistency. Yeah. And don't be complacent. Be committed. Be committed. Whatever it is that you do it, and do it all the time. Be committed to it. Just like in a relationship, Rabbi Taylor. You can't say to your spouse, you know what, I loved you yesterday. I'm going to take a break today. I'm going on vacation. It's all the time. It's a relationship. Our relationship to God is a relationship, and the relationship is constant. And that's what this verse represents to me.
I suppose it's a bit like in last week's Sedgwick with the man, from Shemaim. It was every single day. That was every single day. And we've got to just like our physical bodies need to be nurtured every single day. And even when it did not fall on Shabbat, but it fell double the day before, so we had what to eat. It couldn't fall every third day, because what are you going to eat? We have to be fed all the time. So we need, I think, and it's meaningful and it's beautiful to feed our spiritual lives all the time, twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening. Has this piece ever inspired you at a particular moment in your life?
Not at a particular moment, but all the time, ever since I came across it. And I want to add that I have not found the rabbinic text that this introduction to the Ein Yaakov comes from. He quotes a rabbinic text. He has three interpretations. I don't know where it's from. Everybody only cites it from him. But ever since I came across it, and I was so flummoxed and flabbergasted by what is this text doing in the category of Hero Israel and love your neighbor as yourself, it has a profound, ongoing, personal effect on me.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Very important message. And that's piece number one, which will take the castaway to a desert island. On to piece number two. What's the second piece?
Number two. So the next text, thank you, Rabbi Taylor. What a pleasure. I just want to repeat that it's so nice to see you, and it's so nice to be engaged with you, and continuing to wish you extraordinary success. You deserve it, and you are one of the greatest.
Thank you.
What?
No, it's just a privilege for me to have this conversation with you, and I'm enjoying every minute. Thank you.
Thank you. The second text comes from the rest of the Bible, from Nevi'im, the second book of Kings, chapter 4. Second book of Kings, chapter 4, tells a story. You asked before a moment ago, when did it have a personal effect on me? This is what keeps me going right now. We are now finding ourselves on both sides of the pond in a terribly challenging moment. And regretfully, this moment has been lasting for a long time. And the world has shut down, and there's a great deal of concern. And it's, I'm sure, true where you are as it is where I am. We're not over yet. We hope vaccine, who knows what will be. We have to get it, make sure that it helps. Strains, variants. It's a great deal of anxiety. And there are people who have experienced great losses. In my own personal family, we've had some significant losses, and it's been very difficult for us, as it has been for many. And there's one text that keeps me going, and this is anchors me. The story here is told about a woman who came to Elisha and was crying to Elisha, chapter 4, 2 Kings. You knew my husband. He was a great man. He died. I'm left with 2 sons. But now the creditor to whom I owe money is coming, and he's going to take away my sons because I can't afford to pay him. I need your help, please. I'm desperate. Please help me. And Elisha turns to her, and Elisha says, the prophet, and I'm going to read it in Hebrew, I'm going to translate it. Hagidi li, he says to her, tell me, ma yesh lach babayit. So what do you have? What do you have at home? And she says, well, I have a little bit of oil. So he says, you know what? Go to your neighbors, borrow jugs, come back to the house, lay out the jugs, take the little bit of oil, start pouring them into the jugs, and you're going to see a miracle that it's going to keep on pouring, and you're going to fill up all the jugs. And then when they're all full, take them out, sell them, and with the money, you'll pay back the creditor, and your 2 sons will be saved. And that's what happens. An incredible miracle. A prophet, Elisha, helps this woman. Why is this so central to me? And why is this so central to me right now? Notice, what does he tell this woman? She's bereft. She is anxious. She's looking around. She doesn't know what the future will bring. She's concerned. She's worried. It's not unlike the feelings that we're having now. And we're not done yet. We're still having those feelings. We're still concerned about social distancing. We're concerned about wearing masks. It's critically important. I haven't been in my synagogue in the building in 10 months. This is very difficult. What does he say to someone who is in such a situation? He says, Ma yesh lach babayit. What do you have in your house? What does he not say to her? He does not say to her, Yesh lach babayit. Do you have anything at home? Do you have anything at home that maybe you could use to help you? That's not what he says. He says, what do you have at home? Because I know you have something at home. You've got it at home. The question that you need to ask is, so what is it? Look around in your house and see what is it that will be for you the instrument of salvation. We have it. We have in our homes that which will help us. The question is, what is it? We need to have the confidence that we have the wherewithal. We have the personal space, the personal ability, and we have the bayit, the house, our connections, our loved ones. And in this case, we have neighbors, we have friends, we have a community, we have a synagogue, we have a rabbi, we have lay leadership. We have it. We have it. What we need to do is look and find it. And if we can be confident that we do have the instrument of that which will help us, then we're way ahead of the game. We're not as anxious. We're not as worried. We are anxious. We're not as anxious. We're not as worried because we know we've got it. We just have to find out what it is. And that's what we pray for. I know I'm going to get through this. I'm going to try my best. I have the strength. You know where my strength is? My bayit, my spouse, my kids, my parents, my household. And then we have a larger concentric circle of household. We have a community. I'm sure you've been working constantly to create a community in a world where community is destroyed physically. How do you create an online community? How do you create services that are meaningful? That's where your congregants will find their strength to be able to persevere. Not do you have it in the house? You have it in the house. The question is, what do you have in the house?
Yeah, I suppose this section reinforces the idea that Yiddishkeit, Judaism, all begins in the home. It's not based on the shul. We shouldn't outsource things to schools. It's all about what we have in our homes. And I also suppose that these past few months, where we've spent more time at home, Shabbos, Yom Tov, it's forced us to think about, what is it that we have in our homes? What are those relationships all about? and it's forced us to strengthen those, and it's forced us to be reflective. And so that point really highlights the power of the house and sharpens that point, and it teaches it very, very beautifully.
Yeah, and it gives us optimism. We need optimism. And the optimism comes from the fact that if we know we have it, we just have to find it, and we're able to find it, then with God's help, we'll be able to persevere. But I do not want to underestimate as well, Rabbi Taylor, the power of the school and of the shul. That's part of what gives us great strength to be able to persevere in the face of challenge.
Yeah, no, I totally accept that.
Of course you do.
But it's also nice that this story worked out well. So too, please God with us. If we look and see what's in our home, then again, same too with us. It will work out well.
Please God, please God.
And we'll be stronger the other side. Okay, brilliant. That was very, very special, very, very wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Taylor. Thank you.
Over now to piece number 3 that you would take to a desert island.
Piece number 3. Since I'm, I think, running short on time, I want to very quickly summarize a Talmudic passage. First passage was from the Chumash. The second passage was from the prophets. The third passage is from the Talmud. Shabbat 89b. The rabbis tell us as follows. I'm going to summarize this story. In the end of days, God will come to Abraham and will tell Abraham, your children have sinned. Abraham will say, okay, so your children sin, you have to destroy them. It's Kiddush Hashem. If you misbehave, you have to get destroyed. God is unhappy with that answer because he was hoping that Abraham would extend himself asking mercy. So he goes to Yaakov. Your children sinned. He thought maybe Yaakov, because Yaakov had a lot of challenges raising his own children, that he would be more sensitive. Yaakov says, they sinned, you have to destroy them. At which point God is very upset. He says the old one doesn't have any wisdom, namely Abraham, and the younger one, Yaakov, Jacob, doesn't have any wisdom. What am I going to do? I'm going to go to Yitzchak, to Isaac. Now notice the first time he skipped over Isaac. He went from Abraham to Jacob. He skips over Isaac, but now what am I going to do? Abraham didn't help me. Jacob didn't help me. I'm going to go to Isaac. He goes to Isaac. And Isaac, the Talmud tells us, is toe-to-toe with God. Isaac says, first of all, what do you mean your children sinned? God, they're your children. They're not just my children. In the Torah, you call them your children. And then how much did they sin? Let's really unpack this. So an average lifespan is 70 years. So the first 20 years doesn't count because the rabbis tell us there's no punishment for the first 20 years. I want to ask you that everybody who's listening to this, don't tell your bar and bat mitzvah age children about this. Don't tell them, because according to one strain in rabbinic thought, they actually get a free pass till they're 20. We tell our kids when they're 12 and 13, you're a big girl now, you're a big boy now, you have to assume responsibility. And there is, of course, a great deal to be said for that. But this version picks up the Talmudic position that until 20, you're free. So now, says Isaac, we're down to 50. We lopped off 20. 25 years is night. Half of the time is day, half of the time is night. Out of the 50 years, 25 is night. Who can sin? Who can sin when you can't see anything? It's pitch dark outside. I can't see anything. So now we're down to 25. He says, wait a minute. From the 25, you spent 12 and a half years. I'm reading from the Gemara now. Eating, praying, and going to the bathroom. You spent 12 and a half years eating, praying, and going to the bathroom. Who can sin? When you're eating, your mouth is full. You can't sin. When you're praying, when you're in the bathroom, who can sin? So 12 and a half years are out. So now we're down to 12 and a half years. Says Isaac, you know what, God? We started with 70. We lopped off 20. We lopped off 25. We lopped off 12 and a half. We're down to 12 and a half. You know what, God? Let's split it. You take half and I'll take half. That's what I think we should do. And if you don't want to do that, I'll take it all, says Isaac. I was ready to give up my life for you. In the story in the 22nd chapter of the book of Genesis by the Akedah, he's ready. He's lying there. He's ready to give up his life. God, you know what? If you don't want to split it, I'll take responsibility. This to me is an incredible Talmudic test. What does it mean to care about another human being? In my first text, I talked about consistency. In my second text, I talked about my inner strength. The third text is, what does it mean to care about somebody else? Yitzchak goes to bat for the Jewish people. Yitzchak goes toe to toe. He stands up to God, nose to nose. And he says, no, 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 I'm not going to let you destroy them. They're my children. They're the Jewish people. And he argues with God. And that's what it means to care about another human being. It's not just lip service. It's not just to say something, but it means to extend yourself, to care about them. That's what Yitzchak does. God originally thought he'd never get anything from Yitzchak. He skipped over him. He went from Abraham straight to Jacob. But he didn't have any nachas from Abraham, didn't have any nachas from Jacob. He has to go back to Isaac, and then, whoa, Isaac turns out to be the one who stands up to him. He fights for the Jewish people. That's what it means to care about another Jew. Not just say, I care about you, not just say, I love you, not even write out a check, but get out there, act, do something meaningful that will speak to and represent the level and seriousness of your commitment to another Jew. That's my third text.
Yes. Sometimes we learn these lessons from unexpected places. As you said, Hashem first went to Avram, then Yitzchak, then went to Avram, then Yaakov, then went to Yitzchak.
Yes, very unexpected. And lo and behold, the unexpected turns out to be the greatest gift.
Amazing. Unbelievable. Very, very, very powerful indeed. Thank you so much, Rabbi Shakhtar.
Such a pleasure.
For that incredible, incredible session, full of great Torah and wonderful ideas. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us today, and we wish you continued success in all that you do. So that concludes our first series of Desert Island Torah. I absolutely cannot wait until the next one. Thank you.
I wish you well, and you'll invite me to come to visit you when the world opens up, and I'll be happy to spend time not on a desert island, but together with you and your wonderful community. I wish everybody well.
Thank you. Can't wait. Thank you.